The 12 Imperial Lords who AION appointed to protect the world of Atreia fought bravely against the Balaur oppressors for years. Appearing as winged and luminescent beings, the Imperial Lords were admired and worshipped by the humans for their bravery and unflinching loyalty. To further assist the humans in their newly appointed protectors, AION gifted the world with a powerful substance known as ether, an energy source with limitless potential. But only very few humans were capable of controlling ether, and even less would achieve ascension. The Imperial Lords would identify and handpick certain humans to undergo a physical and spiritual transformation, known as ascension, which saw the human candidate infused with the power of ether. As part of the ascension process, massive wings would erupt from the backs of each human, gifting them with the power of light. These humans streaked through the skies of Atreia as godlike beings, known as Devas. The number of Devas multiplied under the watchful eyes of the Imperial Lords, who led the Deva into battle against the Balaur forces day and night. But the ancient Balaur proved formidable opponents, organized and guided by the 5 Dragon Lords, Phrygian as the leader, followed by Meslamteda, Ereshkigal, Berithra, and Tiamat. The Balaur clawed their way through human and Deva alike in their campaign for domination. The conflict between the forces of AION and the Dragon Lords soon escalated from isolated battles into full-scale war. Unimaginable carnage and terror gripped the once peaceful hillsides of Atreia for decades. To protect himself and the humans from the advancing Balaur, AION manifested an etheric field around the colossal tower and the surrounding area. In spite of the efforts of the Dragon Lords and their Balaur followers, the field withstood even the strongest attacks. But the field had a vital flaw, which the enemies of AION exploited to the fullest. While the field provided absolute protection for everything it reached, anything outside the field lay vulnerable to attack. Knowing this, the Balaur showed no mercy and tried to lure the Imperial Lords out of the sheltering glow of the field. The war raged on the outskirts of the field where Devas and the Imperial Lords fought bravely against their enemies. Despite the bravery and ferocity displayed on each side of the conflict, each soon realized the futility of the situation. The Balaur could not enter the field to destroy the tower, and the Imperial Lords and their Deva followers could not venture outside the etheric field long enough to secure a decisive victory. The Millennium War raged on with massive casualties on both sides of the conflict. In order to better organize the ranks of Devas, the Imperial Lords sanctioned a new body known as the Nobelium. The Nobelium would then move throughout the Deva recruits and organize them into combat groups known as legions. These legions kept the Balaur at bay and helped establish years of peace alongside the impenetrable etheric field. Humans would go about their business and try to forget the hordes of Balaur ravaging the countryside. After so many years of violence and bloodshed, this limited existence marked a huge improvement for the population of Atreia. However, the stalemate came at a huge cost to the Imperial Lords and their Deva followers. While life prospered within the radiance of the etheric field, thousands of Devas lost their lives in the defense of it. The cost of this war also began haunting the Balaur, as the 5 Dragon Lords committed more and more of their numbers to attacking the Devas. Both sides soon realized that the war would never end if things continued unchanged. But then one of the Imperial Lords, Lord Azphel, proposed a peace treaty before the other lords. This proposal divided the Imperial Lords for the first time since the conflict began. Some lords decided peace, while others considered the Balaur and the Dragon Lords as a cancer on Atreia. Lord Azphel believed a truce was the only way to end the war long enough to stabilize Atreia. He tried convincing the other Imperial Lords to present his peace plan to the Dragon Lords. A string of heated debates followed. The Lords would argue about the particulars of the plan, for and against it. One group, led by Lady Ariel, supported Azphel's call for peace, and argued that lowering the etheric field would be a gesture of good faith, and could open the door for discourse and possibly an end to the war. Lord Azphel, however, had a different view. He was of the opinion that lowering the etheric field was foolish and showed weakness on their part, weakness that the Dragon Lords would surely plan to use to their advantage. After long discussions, it was decided to present the peace proposal to the Dragon Lords, because 7 of the 12 Empyrean Lords were for the proposal. Before long, the Dragon Lords and their escorts stood outside the etheric field, having relayed acknowledgement of the peace proposal. Uncertainty still plagued the Empyrean Lords, though the Balor had made the first gesture of good faith by appearing with only a small contingent of elite warriors. The Empyrean Lords made the next move and lowered the etheric field for the Balor to enter. For the first time in so many years, the Tower of Eternity sat vulnerable to attack. As a further test of good faith, the 5 Dragon Lords were asked to enter the tower alone. They agreed and entered. The discussions began peacefully. Dragon Lord Phrygian and Empyrean Lady Seal began the arduous task of healing centuries of hatred and violence through diplomacy. Each side presented their terms, and for a fleeting moment, it appeared as though Atreya would experience peace for the first time since anyone could remember. What happened next remains a mystery to all, as neither side has a full recollection of the event that transpired during the ceremony. What is known is that violence erupted in the middle of the proceedings from an assassination attempt on one of the Dragon Lords, Dragon Lord Beritra. In the blink of an eye, all thoughts of peace have been abandoned, and a ferocious battle broke out within the very heart of the tower. Lord Azphel rushed to the north end of the tower, while Lady Ariel took to the south, both hoping to play their part in the saving of the world. All of Atreya would break apart unless the tower itself survived. Dragon Lord Phrygian launched a massive fireball towards the unprotected tower. Despite their efforts, without the protection of the etheric field, the tower broke apart. Knowing of this danger to the entire world, Lady Seal and Lord Azphel rushed to reset the etheric field. Sacrificing themselves in the process, they averted the complete destruction of Atreya, but not in time to prevent the cataclysm that shattered the world into pieces. These events, known as the Epic Cataclysm, would start a new era for Atreya.